Hi, thanks for checking out our repair channel. This is going to be a little, well, show and tell and talk about this unit a little bit. This is a American Farmworks 120 mile electric fence charger. American Farmworks and Zariba, Blitzer, Red Snapper, Five Shock, a lot of that company, all of those brands are all made by the Woodstream people, which I think the main brand is Zariba, and then all these other little brands are just the other names they stick on there. I think this is one that Tractor Supply sells. They're all the same on the inside, no matter what the sticker says on there. They're all the same, whether it says Blitzer 100 mile, American Farmworks 120 mile, Zariba 100 mile, whatever. They're all the same. They also was a model back in the day. It was an International Super 5000 something or Super something. I don't know what it was. Back 20 years ago, the same thing. It looked just like this, different colored stickers and stuff, but they're all the same. So if you got one of these American Farmworks units, the 120 mile unit or one similar to it, they make a 240 mile unit. They call it. It's basically double the parts on the inside of the thing. Couple differences in them, but on the parts, but they're mostly the same. Just double they kind of stack parts up here and stack parts up here. But this is one that came to us for repair. It's not a very old unit. It got hit by lightning. It was a 2017 model. They got hit by lightning on the inside, but we had to replace the main board, fix a couple other boards, and rewire them back together, and it went to working. So, which was nice for the customer because we were able to repair a couple of the boards versus replacing them, just because it was cheaper to do it that way versus just swapping boards out. But the main board was too far gone. We had to replace that board. It got just charred up and everything. It wasn't worth it to try to rebuild the board. Just junk the board and put a new one in it. Now I'll tell you a real quick thing. I'm not a real big fan of these things. And when they work well. They put up a hell of a charge, hell of a shock on the fence. But even excluding lightning, the longevity of one of these Zariba 100 mile, 120 mile things, and even the 200 and the 240 mile units they sell, I mean, they sell the hell out of them, but because every Tractor Supply out there sells this brand, or sells this model, and there's thousands of those stores around. There's also other chain of stores and feed stores and farm and fleet stores that carry this, maybe not this brand name, but maybe same unit, different sticker kind of thing. They're not a very, very well built unit at all. They've got a really junky design transformer in them. Luckily, this transformer is still good. But what I think the reason why they have so much trouble with them is they get hot. Those transformers get really warm. That's why these vents are right here. There's some more on the back too, right here, to try to let that heat out. And the reason why those transformers get hot, from what I've talked to a couple of guys about these things, and we replace more transformers in these dumb things than we do anything, is people buy these units because they're like 180 bucks brand new, so you get quite a bit of power and shock for the money, maybe $200 on the high side, but they're a cheaply made unit on the inside. All their crap comes from China, and then they assemble them here in the States, but they're a really junky design transformer. That's the biggest problem with them, is the transformers. The reason why they get hot is because people want a lot of shock for not a lot of money, and they'll want to put it, say, 120 miles. That's of a single strand of clean fence, but you could probably run, I don't know, 250 acres off the thing, maybe, of multi-wire fence, maybe 200 acres, with it pretty, and do just fine. But if you got a small little area that you're running, say 10 acres or a half acre or 5 acres, whatever, there's this charger's trying to put out all this power that's trying to deliver, and it can only put out so much because there's not enough fence to absorb all that energy that it's trying to get rid of. And so all that excess energy that it can't get rid of gets stuck inside, and gets that transformer just holds on to it. It can't get rid of it. So over the course of time, the transformer gets hot, and that's why these vents are here, because they know there's a problem. So they're like, well, maybe we can prolong the life of the thing by letting some of the heat escape. Eventually, the heat is just too much for the transformer to handle, the coil on the inside of the transformer, and the winding breaks down inside. And then usually when it breaks down the primary side, because it gets hot, and primary side actually sits right there. That's right in that area is where the primary side sits at. The same on over here. When that 200 mile, there's a transfer that's right up here. So that's why those things are there, to let the heat come out of it. But the primary sides on both transformers are right there. So, and when this primary side burns out, all this power sits there and it won't pulse. It can't get rid of any of the power. So it's back feeding into the other parts that are over here. And usually something's got to give. Something can't hold on to that power forever, and something's going to burn out and go bad. And sometimes you look at a unit on the inside and nothing looks burnt. It just looks clean as a whistle. Nothing smells funny. It just doesn't work. And so it's always a chain reaction of problems. If lightning doesn't mess it up, these things will just go bad at random. You know, I'll work on them just because it's a little bit of a paycheck, but I'd never buy one. They're just just a junk design. I mean, you can buy a lot better unit for probably more. You'll have to spend a little bit more money, but you'll get a lot longer life out of like a Cyclops or a Gallagher, or some Parmac units aren't too bad, or a Speedrite maybe. Speedrite and Gallagher, you'll pay a lot more money for one of their units, but you'll get a lot longer life out of one. Or even a Cyclops, you'll pay more money for those, but you'll get a lot longer life out of one of those as well. So if you got one of these, we'll work on it for you and go through it and fix it, because we can fix them a lot cheaper than to buy a new one. But if you're like, man, I've had this thing fixed 3 times the last like 6 years, some kind of story like that, I would, fix it, buy another one, buy not this one, buy something else, and then fix up this one for a good spare backup unit or something like that. The good thing is when we work on something, we do give you a free quote, and we do give we put on a 1.5-year warranty on the repairs that we do. And that repair warranty does include lightning as part of our warranty, but man, I just do not like these things. I mean, when they work, I'll show you, they put out a hell of a charge. They'll throw huge sparks. I mean, when they shock good. It's just getting any kind of long life out of them, excluding lightning, is second to none. You don't get a long time out of them. I would say 1 year to 4 years, maybe. This thing's 2 years old. I guess the lightning had to mess with it. It probably would have done okay. The only time I think you would probably have good luck with something like this is if you had a pretty good sized area. I'd say 100 miles or 100 acres, 75 acres, or maybe up to 200 acres. This would probably do really well because there's enough fence out there that it can hopefully get rid of a lot of its energy, power all that fence, and a lot of heat won't stay built up on that transformer and get hot. So that's, I guess if you had a bigger area, it might probably work okay. But if you had a smaller area, like an acre, 10, 20, 30 acres, and you got something big like this that keeps burning out, I would jump ship and either buy a smaller one of these, like a 75 mile or a 50 mile. Maybe that might work for you. I don't know. Or get a Gallagher unit like an M800 or an M360, something like that. That'll probably do the job, unless you got a lot of weed growth, and you might have to get like something in the mid-range area. Or get a Cyclops Super or a Cyclops Champ, something like that. That would probably work out a lot better for you. Well, let's power this thing on and show you that it's working. See a little light there flashing. Put the fence tester on there. You can see it puts out 9,000 volts, so it works really well. I put out a hell of a shock too. Now, that's why people buy them, is because of that right there. But when you're buying one, just don't expect for the money that you're spending on it, you're not getting a good unit. I mean, you're buying a cheap unit on the inside. They charge $200 for these things, and they're getting kind of a flip of the coin unit. You never know if they're going to get a year or 6 years, but I think 6 years probably pushing it. That's probably not going to happen. You'll probably be lucky to get 2, 3, 4 years out of one before they finally have some kind of trouble, unless you're just one of the lucky ones that gets 5 to 8 years, but that's highly unlikely. But that's my 2 cents on it. You can go to our website, at fencerfixer.com, and there will be a link down in the description area that you can click on, take you right to the site. And we do give free quotes, and we work on all brands of all ages of these electric fence boxes. No matter if it's 50 years old or new, we'll tinker on them. And anything that we work on, we give a 1.5-year warranty. So there's no charge for us looking at them. So you don't have nothing to lose besides the shipping to get it up here. And if for some reason you don't want to fix it because it costs too much or whatever, and we don't charge anything, but if you wanted it back, the only thing we would charge you is the freight to get it back. Most times when that happens, people just say, I'll just keep it, and then we'll just put it on a part shelf and keep it as a part, something like that. But we don't keep too many units. Most times they go right back to the customer because we fix them. Occasionally they'll be too far gone. They'll say, toss it, and then we'll just trash the thing because it's a junk, burnt up unit on the inside. But until we do another video of how one works, or one that we've worked on, or a little show and tell deal, we will see you guys later on.